Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Bruce, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories with our top realtors and figure out how they got there so we can help make more realtors great. So let's talk with Katie Taylor today. How you doing, Katie?
Great. How are you?
Okay, real good. So, a couple of things
Good.
about Katie. I know we like to talk about things that are not real estate related, but Katie, interestingly, has two kids, 9 and 18. So has a great gap there. I want to hear a little bit about that. And she's gone through some things personally where interesting story she was telling me how she was valued, put a value on her that with an early divorce that, I think would screw me up, but I'm sure left in her mind what she was worth, which of course she was worth way more than that, and then dealt with that and overcame so much to get to a place to where she is today, which is really quite amazing. So a great story and love to hear a little bit about it, Katie.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. Um, so the valuation thing, I got married when I was young, very young, and we ended up getting divorced. And part of the divorce, because I had been a stay-at-home mom, was calculating child support and any spousal maintenance. And in order to do that, my ex-husband's lawyer had some career counselor or something come in and interview me, and he put a value of $35,000 on me and told the other lawyers that I am worth $35,000 in the job market. And for years and years and years, that just hung over my head. And I never pushed myself because I thought that's all I could ever do was $35,000 and I'd be lucky to get that. So it made me, when we got divorced, it made me not think I could do anymore. So I had to help. I needed help. I couldn't stay single because I couldn't afford, to live. I ended up getting married again too soon right after that. And because I had no idea that I could ever support myself. I thought I was always going to have to depend on somebody else because I could make $35,000 and you can't really live in Phoenix on $35,000.
It's amazing. I really appreciate you sharing this. And because there are so many agents I know I've dealt with, especially women, right, that
Mm-hmm.
get into real estate just like you, right? They go through, a life changing event. They weren't making money, or maybe they were, it was some small
Yeah,
job, and now they needed to support their families, right? And then they got involved in real estate, and the world really opened up to them. So I
absolutely.
know these things are tough to talk about, but going through that trauma of someone telling you you're worth what you're worth, and that the story here is how you have overcome that, which is just fascinating, quite amazing. So let's get into it a little bit. So you get involved
Okay.
in real estate. How
Right.
did that even happen the first time, as you were telling me?
So the first time, so when I was married and I knew I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, my ex-husband let me quit my job at the bank and become a real estate agent. And it was so much fun. And I got to dress up and go have lunch with all these people. And then they wanted me to call people, and it was really hard. And I allowed myself to fail out of that. And then I got pregnant and I knew I was going to stay at home. So I didn't even do anything else. I just let my license lapse and stayed home and was very happy until we got divorced. Um, and so then, years later, I had my daughter, my now 9-year old, and I could not imagine going back to a cubicle and leaving this girl, especially after I had been able to be a stay at home mom with my first son. It kept me up at night. I cried a lot because I thought, I can't commute a half an hour one way, a half an hour back, and then be gone 8 hours a day and not see this baby grow up. And my husband said, well, why don't you do real estate? And I'm like, yeah, I've done real estate. It is hard. I'm not doing that again. And, I started chewing on it and thinking about it and thinking, okay, well, I have this knowledge of what I didn't do the first time. And I know that in order to be successful, I'm going to have to be able to do this stuff. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I had to get my license again. And let me tell you, after having two children and 10 years have passed, it was a lot harder to get my license than it was the first time. But I got my license again. And I knew that I was going to have to do all of the uncomfortable things if I wanted to be successful in this business. And I wanted to be successful because I did not want to go back to a cubicle. I still feel like a cubicle chases me every day. And I think that it's what what causes me to work so hard doing this, because I know even now with my kids being 18 and 9, I can't go back to a cubicle. Now I've had this taste of freedom and business ownership and mentorship that I'll never get if I go back to a corporation and have to work for somebody else again.
Just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it really is, to say how proud I'm sure you are, of yourself. And, I
And
know I have my kids are, adults now, but when your kids get even older, they're going to really appreciate your story and what you were able to accomplish. So, okay, so you get involved in real estate. Okay, this second round,
my second
all
round,
the all this uncomfortable stuff,
yep,
calling and everything that, we know that's
talking to
involved here.
people. Yes.
Right? So how does it start working for you? What starts clicking that you see, okay, I have this?
So luckily, I went to a really small brokerage and the broker took me under his wing. And I was there for about 9 months and I learned a lot. He let me write contracts for him. He let me help the sellers. He let me do all the work, but I got paid for it. And so it was great. And then I thought, I need to grow more than this. And I think I need more support around me and more people around me than just like this two-person office. So I went to another company in the Valley. They were also a boutique brokerage. They taught me about social media and about connecting with my sphere and my database through social media, where before that had always petrified me to put myself out there and face rejection. So they taught me social media and video, and that's what really blew up my business. you know, posting about business, but not posting about business. Like, hey, I was at this home inspection today and I saw this cool thing. It's not saying, hey, call me if you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. It's kind of those subtle messages that just remind people that I'm doing this without having to call them specifically and ask them for referrals or business. And while I do that, I don't do that the way I do social media. I'm not as passionate about that, like I'm sure a lot of agents can attest to. And then that's just grown into, running a team now. And we do huge community events and we are known for those. We give back to the community a lot. And that's really helped me, but it's also helped my team and these other agents that are learning. It's helped them be able to grow and scale.
So that's just fantastic that you're now involved in, from where you were to running a team is
It's yeah,
just crazy, right? You have
yeah.
to you have to be pinching yourself. Tell me about some of the events because I love
Okay.
hearing about, the different agents events
Yeah.
and, picking out something that's maybe a little bit different. I got, I know a lot of people do ice cream trucks at
Yeah.
the, open houses but tell me
Yeah.
about some of the community events that you do.
So we do client events, but we also do community events. And it's nice because we can mix them. We can grow our database by meeting all of these people in the community. And we can use this as a touch point to call our database and say, hey, we have this coming up. So our biggest event is a car show that we do twice a year. We do it the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and then we do it in February or March before it starts getting too hot here. But the last couple of years, we've had between 5,000 and 7,000 people come through. Yeah, it's massive. We max out the number of cars that can enter every year. So we have about 500 parking spots, and usually we have about 600 registrants. Plus, people try to show up without registering. So those parking spots are usually gone by the time the event actually starts. We have vendors, we have bounce houses, we have a whole kids area. Um, and my team is the gatekeepers for it. We handle all of the registration. We handle all of that. So then we are able to we don't necessarily market to these people as realtors. We want to provide value to them. So we tell them about our other car events and our other events that we have. But our car show is the biggest event. People come from all over for it.
Wow. Was this
Yeah.
started by your
Yeah.
agency?
Yeah.
Wow.
My partner and I started it. The first one, we had maybe 10 cars come in a friend's parking lot at their business, and it was still fun. We had food trucks and it was a great time, and it's just grown. So we've been doing it for 5 years. I think our first one was in 2019. um 2019, in the fall of 2019, and since then it's just exponentially exploded.
Love it. I love it. I love hearing like the different stories,
It's fun.
recent agent, talked about had like a you'll appreciate this with your 9-year old, 9 and 6-year old, and
Hmm.
also in, I think, Colorado, so different time difference, and they love
Yeah,
doing New Year's. The kids want to stay up for New Year's.
fun. Yeah,
He started bringing friends in the community together to do New Year's, but East Coast New Year's.
love that.
So by 10 o'clock, the ball dropped and everyone goes home. And it's like your car, it's built to where, they have babysitters and,
Yeah,
clowns and events for the
fun.
kids and the
Yeah,
parents, right? And everyone's home by 10 o'clock.
perfect.
Love these, right? So these are like great nuggets that people can, take from these
Yeah,
videos and, make their own. So that
yeah.
is an amazing event. Anything else outside of like cars, different?
Oh, yeah. I'm not a car person. My business partner is a car person, and the people we partner with, the charity we partner with, they're all car people. So it builds that way. But we do family events. We do an Easter egg hunt that is huge every year, and we do a winter wonderland with Santa and photos with Santa. We do a really big trunk or treat. So that's also grown. I think last year we had 30 trunks lined up, and just so many kids and so many families come out for it. We do I think we always call it event season because we can't do stuff in the summer here, but we can do stuff outside in the fall and winter. So we always joke that once trunk or treat starts, it's event season until March. We recently started doing these things called First Fridays. So it's every month on the first Friday, we are using the parking lot that we use for our car shows, and we have a little cruise in. So maybe 20 or 30 cars and car guys show up, and they all like to sit in their cars or sit on their chairs and talk to each other. We have a ton of vendors. Last month we had 75 vendors. So artists and artisans, and we had food trucks, we had just all kinds of things, plus bounce houses, face painter, Girl Scout cookie sales, this last one. But those have grown as well. Like we probably had 500 or 600 people come through last time, and our first one started with maybe 100 people. So we've only been doing this since October.
Wow. So
Yeah,
I take it this is like your core marketing.
yeah. I
Yeah.
would say this is our core marketing.
Yeah. I mean, just
Yeah,
pulling these things off. I know doing one event, a big event like that, right? It's one thing
yeah,
starting it, but now getting to
right.
the level you're at, it's a massive thing pulling this
It's
off.
a 6 month planning. We have our dates all the way through the end of the year. I keep looking at my calendar because we have our whole annual calendar out, and we have all of our events already planned. We have our venues already reserved because we've learned over the years that we need to have this stuff laid out. Otherwise, it's a mad dash. And then we're not able to start marketing it soon enough to get enough people there.
Yeah. What a beautiful thing that you are in control over versus, let's say, I guess more typical is, people involved with, the PTA at the school and making all the connections and the soccer,
Mhm.
right? You're out and you get involved with your community where you're in all of these different places, but like you're not in control, right? You're
Right.
kind of meeting people and which
Yeah,
is beautiful, but
absolutely.
the way you're pulling it off here with like these structured events and being
Mhm.
like core to your marketing, that is, I think, a great nugget for, people watching this video on, wow, I
Yeah.
can do that.
We've partnered with a lot of small businesses throughout the area, but a couple core businesses and the charity we work with. So they're involved in almost all of our events, these like 3 or 4 companies. And it helps us because they then have their databases that get invited, and we get to meet those people. But it also helps because then we don't have to do it all alone. We have this guy whose strength is this, and so he handles all of like our lighting at the events. We handle this guy who allows us to use the church he goes to so that we can use their huge parking lot. We have, these core businesses that we work with, but then we get to introduce our database to them as well. And so it's been a really neat partnership.
Wow. Wow. Absolutely great stories. So now we're getting into 2025.
Mhm.
Events obviously are on the
Yes, we'll be
schedule.
doing events.
Okay. What
Yeah,
else?
we really need to our core for for 2025 is really, I have it drawn because I have to remind myself of it. I don't know if you can see it, but we really want to take our sphere, our events, and our social media, um, and really tie those all together in a way that is more intentional and draw business from that. So, we can do social media and we can do videos. How do we draw business from that? What's our call to action on there? Without being salesy, we want to add value. We want to share with people. We want to educate. We want to entertain. We want to do all of those things, but we also need to support our families. So how can we tie those all together in a way that's meaningful for everybody and that helps us support the people we need to support?
Excellent. Excellent. So this is really fantastic. I love this. I love that it's different. You know what I mean? As I interview all the agents,
Oh,
there are
yeah.
some things that are similar, like the way you deal with coaching, coaches, even the best, the 1% top MLS, Stacey Esser, who's a co-founder of Agent Moves. Hey, she has her coach every week. I don't care how big you are, how good you are. I love that part of real estate, that everyone has their coach.
Yes.
Here, as you're making events like the center point of your marketing, and then like you said, okay, you're at the point, how do we pull it together? Great challenges, but wow, you've done it. Incredibly impressive and inspirational
We have
as
lots of
well.
help.
I'm sure you do. As this thing builds, I'm sure. Now you just need to get your 19-year-old involved in real estate after they finish
Yes.
college.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, Katie. Please follow Katie on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And until the next time, hope to see you at Family Reunion.
Thank you. You too.